this session is designed to help you guys to understand exactly what the plyometric agility speed assessment looks like. So if you're going to go into it, how do you prepare for it, and what does it physically look like on the day? So we will require a volunteer to be taken through it. Now I know with limited numbers, that means limited volunteers, so think about that over the next few minutes, whether you could be that volunteer. So I'm Jared Deacon, I am the tutor and assessor for UKSCA, and was one of the main writers behind the course for this, but not necessarily the assessment. They were written by sort of two different people. But looking at the assessment and what is involved, my computer will play the game for me. This is the percentages over the last few years of what has been passed. Very few people pass all elements at first time. Fortunately, these days you can book certain elements to do. So you could say, I want to concentrate my efforts. Run! Alan, why are you here? You've passed this. Right, it looks like we've got a volunteer. Walk faster next time. Right, so I'm Jared Deacon. I'm a tutor and assessor for UKSCA, and we're just having a brief look at some of the percentages in terms of people passing this. Now, a few years ago when they changed the assessment, they changed what it looked like, and we did get a definite rise in percentage pass, but it should have been much higher than that, because you're taken to water with this stuff. The drinking bit is you doing some practice, but it's very much laid out for you if you go through the process in the right way. Okay? Like anything else, if you don't prepare for it and you don't plan for it, you're going to make life difficult for yourself, and you're going to make life easy for the assessor, because he's going to go, you're nowhere near it. Make life easy for the assessor in the opposite direction by coming in and nailing a thing. Don't be just skirting around, was it a pass, was it a fail? You're likely to get the negative on that. Okay. So what's it all about in terms of the actual assessment? So it's 20 minutes, and it's one of 6 scenarios which is randomly assigned. Now those scenarios are up on the website. Some of the scenarios have more than one element in. So let's say, just off the top of my head, scenario 2 may have 2 different plyometric exercises and 1 running-based exercise, and it would only be 1 of the plyometric and 1 of the running. So when it says 6 scenarios, there's actually more elements than that. It's not just 6 of these and 6 of this. There's, I think, a total of 16 different exercises that you need to learn about and learn the technical model of. So this session of 20 minutes is going to include a ramp warm-up, some plyometric or ballistic activity, some speed agility activity, and assessor questions. There's about 3 minutes of assessor questions within that. So it's about 17 minutes of actual practical work. It's not very long at all, and it will go very, very quickly. So the planning for that needs to be fairly detailed, and like, I need to hit these things and do them really well, but it shouldn't be reams and reams, because you're not going to get through it. Okay? So in terms of your actual preparation, it's all the P's. So firstly, prime, watch the videos and understand what is involved. You can get these slides afterwards. I'll actually put them up on the app, and you can get the link to them. Watch the videos and understand what's in it. So I did an assessment in Belfast last year, earlier this year, and speaking to one of the guys who's going to get assessed, have you prepared for this? Yeah, planned and stuff. So he goes in, give him what he's going to do, and he did a perfectly suitable cutting-based exercise. It just wasn't the one from the videos. And I was chatting with him afterwards, have you looked at the videos? Have you gone through them? Oh no, didn't know they were there. So you've done some level of planning, but clearly not enough, and certainly hadn't been mentored in any way, shape or form to get there. So the videos, whether you agree with how the exercise is done or not on the video, much like a driving test, you can agree with how you're supposed to drive, you can disagree, but in order to pass the test, you're going to have to do it the way that it's been set out. In terms of a plan, create a plan for each scenario, create a coaching plan for each one. Don't go, here's one generic one, I'll do a little bit of a change here and a bit of a change there. There might be some crossover, and there definitely will be in the warm-ups, but here's scenario 1 plan and all the exercises in. Here's scenario 2. Have clear, distinct plans for each one and know them well. Now, you don't have to memorize them, but know them pretty well. Now, the reason I say you don't have to memorize them is because, like any coaching session, when you get given the assignment of what a scenario is that you're going to use, you can have a look at your notes. You don't have to have it fully memorized, but you do have to have them practiced in some way, shape or form. It would be foolish to go in without doing some level of practice. Which leads me to my next point. Get a pal and rehearse each scenario. So get someone who's physically able to come and be the person that you coach. Don't get someone who's terrible, because that makes life difficult for you. Don't get someone who's amazing, because equally, there's not much to coach there. Get a normal-based athlete who's got some things that can be worked on, that you can do some regression and possible progression with, and make it a realistic situation. The person you will be coaching in the scenario is someone else who's getting assessed on the day. So you do get some motor morons, you do get some people who are particularly good, you take a little bit of a chance with that, and they do with you. You might be the motor moron for all we know. So you're going to work with that person, but it means that you do it in real time and you coach realistically as to what's happening. And then this preparation bit is video your sessions and review your coaching and content. Stick an iPad to the side, video what you do. As horrible as it is to hear your own voice and see yourself on camera, it will teach you a lot. It will be uncomfortable, but it will teach you a lot. What will teach you even more though, is if you get a mentor and get some advice, feedback and answerability and some positive pressure on that. So I mentor people at the moment, they're not necessarily in my area, they'll send it through on WhatsApp and I'll be able to watch it through and give them some feedback on what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. Now that does a few things. One, it makes them prepare the session properly because they're going to be videoing it. When they send it through to me, it means that they've had a time frame in order to get it. I'm going to send this to you by the end of the week, Jared, so we're working towards something, get some momentum on it. And then they also keeps them on the money because yes, the person in front of them that they're coaching, they want to be good with them, but knowing that someone else is going to watch this and critique it, it makes that positive pressure. So don't shy away from that. Don't just revise the sheets that you've got and think, I know that pretty well. Do it in actuality because you'll make little tweaks and changes and you'll get comfortable delivering that. Think about anything that you're going to coach for the first time. It's not going to go perfectly the first time you coach it. So coach it multiple times, becomes easy. Then you go into that assessment, I'll nail this because it's quite easy to do. Okay, so some of the positives that we see in assessment, some of the good things that you would like to see in assessment is well-planned sessions. So that's from a timing perspective and the content. I had 2 people in one of the assessments in Edinburgh last year, and they spent the first minute and a half walking up and down, doing very low-level stuff. Bearing in mind you've got 4 or 5 minutes for a warm-up, stretching whatever this is around here. 9 minutes they took going through this warm-up. Bearing in mind they've got 17 minutes of total work. Started so low level, it wasn't realistic at all. Okay, so get your timings right, put your watch on, work to the watch. I'll say that and I'll forget to start my stopwatch when I do the demo in a bit. Try and be as natural as possible in your coaching delivery. Yes, it is a little bit of a false scenario, but coach the person in front of you and work with them to try and improve what they're doing in the way that you would normally do. Don't make it something weird and wonderful. Keep it simple. What would you normally do? Ensure you coach the progressions and regressions and what you see in front of you. So have a plan. These is where I would like to take the person, should they be physically able to go there. This is where I would take them if they weren't able to do this bit. That is the technical model in the middle. Now it might be sometimes that you come in and you build up to that technical model, but you need to get there as best you can with what you've got. There is examples of people who they've tried to go to that technical model initially, but the person's not capable of it. There was one of the assessors had someone doing a drop jump, for instance, and they couldn't do the drop jump, so they regressed them back to a drop landing. Drop landing was poor. They regressed them back to a body weight squat. And then in the questions at the end with the assessor, why did you regress them back to that? Well, they weren't good at this because of this and this, they weren't good at that, so what I needed to do was do the real underpinning fundamental movement of what is required here, so we worked on some body weight squat stuff. And the assessor then understands where it is you wanted to take them. You've got a structure and a process there. Whether you got there with that athlete in the few minutes you've got, that's less relevant. You need to understand that you understand what you're on about and can coach and understand the progressions that you've got there. And then some of the pitfalls. So, as I said, not practicing, not knowing the technical models. On the videos, they're there for you. Not getting feedback from a mentor. Self-feedback is good, it can be critical, but a mentor is going to make it all the more useful, especially if they are an assessor or have been through the accreditation process. In fact, I wouldn't recommend getting a mentor who hasn't been through the accreditation process. That probably wouldn't make much sense. Don't make it more complicated than it should be. And then not actually coaching. And what I mean by that is, and this happened probably more so with the assessments before they changed this exact format. But it's not about setting out a drill and running you through it, and then changing that drill and running through that, and then changing the drill and running through that. It's coaching that drill to be better. So yeah, this is the only part of the overall accreditation process where you are seen to be coaching. So on the assessment criteria, there are ticks in boxes for your coaching, your interactive style with the person, how do you move around, how do you dish out the technical points. So there's some of that side of it as well. So if you can't find the scenarios very well on the presentation that you can get the link to, you can just go on this and it'll take you straight to it on the website. If you Google the scenarios, they do tend to come up, but there have been occasions where people can't really find them. So here's your idiot's guide to that. Okay, so the session we're going to do now is scenario 4. So you'd be read this out by the assessor. They'd read out and say, you've got scenario 4, you're coaching a performer. They and their technical coach would like you to help them with their ability to turn and re-accelerate. So the ballistic exercise you're going to coach is horizontal jumping. Your speed exercise is a 180-degree turn. Happy with that? Yeah, great. Right, you've got 2 minutes now to go and set up the equipment that you need, and then we'll get started. So off you go and you get your equipment set up. I prepared mine earlier where we've got 2 cones. That's all I need for this, is 2 cones. So then I've got my plan. This is my plan. So I'll leave this up as we go through, so keep me right, and you know what we're doing. So it's basic striding out, doing some sort of dynamic mobility. It's through this ramp protocol, which hopefully you all understand: raise, activate, mobilize, potentiate. It's not got a section of each. It's throughout that we go through that as a process. It's not boxed up where we're doing a raise activity, and activation activity, and mobilization activity, and we're boxed through it. It's a bit more fluent than that. We'll include some elements that are going to relate from a potentiation point of view to some of the activities to come, and then we'll move into the next section. So this is where we require a volunteer. You going to do it, Alan? Nodding away? Yeah, right, spot on. So come and join us over here. If we'll try and stand maybe to that side to help the camera. And Alan, if you use the lane with the cones going to be to your right-hand side. Okay, so hi Alan, I'm Jared, I'm your coach today. Any niggles, issues, injuries, anything that I need to know about? Okay, so today we're going to work on your ability to turn and re-accelerate. We're going to have a ballistic activity, which is going to be double leg horizontal jumping, which I'll introduce to you in a little bit, and we're going to do a 180-degree turn. So it's going to be fairly fast out, turning and sprinting back. Happy with them? Yep. Done anything like that before? Yep. Yep, spot on. Right, so it should be quite easy. So we're going to take you through a bit of a ramp warm-up to start off with. So what I'd like you to do is take an easy stride out. So it's not going to be a jog, it's going to be a bit more of a stride. I'm going to stand this side so I'm with the camera as well. A bit more of a stride, and then on the way back, we're going to do a different activity on the way back. So you're just going to do a side skipping on the way back. Okay, so off you go, stride it out. Good. Slow it down and just do some side skipping on the way back. And then you're going to repeat that again. Just repeat that again. When you come back, we'll do a little bit of mobility stuff. Good stuff. Like the way you're changing that each time there. Okay, I'm just going to take you through a reverse lunge and reach. So just going to open out through that frontal chain, just 3 times each side. Good. Try and keep your head up and your chin up as you do that if you can. Good stuff. Spot on. No problem at all. So you're going to stride out again, and this time as you're coming back, it's just going to be a little bit karaoke. Okay? Off you go. Similar sort of speed again. Very keen, you don't have to accelerate too hard on this bit. Good. And then one more again, and karaoke to the opposite side this time. So this is good. This gives me the opportunity to see you accelerate. Keep going as I'm just talking to you. Good opportunity for me to see accelerate and see if there's some other things we might need to work on in the main bit of the session. Okay, we're going to go for a lateral lunge this time. So quite fairly dynamic on that push off back up to the middle. So just feel that stretch through the adductors there. Good, 3 times each side. Good stuff. Right, on the stride out this time, a little bit faster. When you come back, it's going to be a slightly lower level activity. It's just going to be an easy skip with the arms coming back. Okay? I'm just going to do this one once. Good stuff. Okay, just easy skipping back, using the arms overhead as you come back. Okay, so as one of the activities we're going to do is a double-footed horizontal jump. We're just going to work on a little bit of squats to activate through that. So if we can go through 4 reasonable range bodyweight squats. Good. All right, I'm going to go up on the balls of your feet. I'm going to go into a drop squat. So similar sort of depth, but a bit more dynamic on that catch. Good. Try and keep the chest and head up as you do that. Nice flat-footed landing. Good. Okay, we're going to try a little bit of counter movement jump. Have you done jump for height before? Have you used your arms with it, or have you had your hands on your hips when you've done it? Both, spot on. So we're going to use your arms with this one. So if you can just do one sort of 7 out of 10 effort, one 8 out of 10, one 9 out of 10 for me. I'll have a look at the technique. Good. Just try and really cushion into that landing because you're going to be landing quite deep on these horizontal jumps. Good. One more. 9 out of 10. Good stuff. Okay. So a little bit of drills that's going to help relate to the 180 turn we're going to do, just to finish this little bit off. So we're just going to go for high knees, high knee run. So lots of contacts up and down, trying to hit this position here, just up to then an easy walk back off this one. Okay. So fast up and down, faster. Good. Just take an easy walk back with that. So that was good. Good high knee position, good opposite arm and leg. We're going to need that when we come to the acceleration in a little bit. Okay, so let's go for an acceleration now. So think about the speed you did in those earlier warm-up ones, just one notch above that. Take your time slowing down on this one, okay? You don't have to stop by the time you get to the cone. Good stuff. You know, you see you've done this before. I've got no evidence to suggest that you've done this to a high level yet, but we'll see what we can do to improve you. He's my previous intern, so he gets some grief, don't worry. Would you just click on the thing for me there? So that's 4.5 minutes of warm-up there. Perfect. So we're going to move into some horizontal jumps. You see you've done these before. Have you been competitive with them? Just part of training?
Yeah, just part of training.
Okay. So we're going to try and build this up a little bit. So we're going to just start with a self-selected distance technique that we're after. We're going to start with your toes behind the line each time, just so we can take a measure. You're going to use your hands very similar to what you did on that counter movement jump. So if you just want to come into here, so I can show you in real time where you're going to do it. So you're going to throw your arms up, you're going to come down, just take a jump out, and just land in that similar position what you did. Now we're going to do this 3 times. What I'd like you to do is just your first one, wherever you're comfortable to go. Second one a little bit further, third one a bit further again. Good stuff. Try and really stick that landing and sit back into it. So just take a walk back each time. Give the legs a shake out if you need to. Good. Much better on the height there. Really good in terms of the stability on the landing there. Oh. Right. So that's about as far as you got out with that. So let's put a little bit of competition onto this, right, with yourself. I'm going to give you 2 more jumps and see if we can beat that. Now, do you think you can beat that straight away? Or should we get out that little bit further for you? Right. So that's a good distance. That's going to be over 2 meters. So let's see if you can reach that. You've only got 2 jumps on this because we're going to build onto it. Good. Well, you got your toes to it. Let's see how much further on your foot you can get. Give your legs a shake out in between. Nice one, mid-foot. So that's definitely your furthest jump. Good job. Okay, so what we're going to move on to then, because we want to put this into like 3, ultimately 3 jumps, maybe 4 if we're good enough to hold that together. So you're going to self-select again. Don't go massive on the first one because you're not going to have enough ready to go on the second one. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we're going to try and stop on the 2. Okay, so let's have a little go of that. Not bad, not bad. If you come back, what we're going to do here then, we're just going to get you to pause a little bit longer like a little reset in that position. So you'd come out, land, just have that little reset, and then go again, okay? Good stuff, okay. Right, now go back and let's see if we can put the same quality of both of those jumps together without the reset in the middle. So land into it and then come straight back out of that, okay? Not bad, you got a little bit further and I felt that those quite consistent on the jumps there, pretty good. I think you're probably good enough to go out to 3, so we'll give 3 a go. Now, judging by that distance there, we'll put a little bit of a target out for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll see if we can get somewhere near that. We'll go straight away for not sticking in the middle. We'll try and keep it fairly continuous, but I would still like you to focus on form more than pure distance. So we've got that out there as a bit of a target for you, but I'm more interested in your form on how you're doing this. Right, not bad. Got the distance in. Which was your best jump? Which was your worst jump? Final jump, okay. I actually felt the one in the middle, it was like I'm dealing with what's happened in the first jump and I'm trying to get ready for what's happening in the last one. So I would say undercook your first one and try and build as you go. Try and get bigger on each one, okay? Let's go for 2 more and see if we can beat that with the good technique. Good, so you beat it and it was better technique. Yeah, you stole a couple of inches there though. Right, good stuff. So give your legs a shake out, a little recovery. I'm going to make this your last one. What's your last chance to beat that? But I'm only going to let you have it, even if you beat it, I'm only going to let you have it if it's good enough technique.
Okay.
Okay? Well, the first 2 are great, third one on average. Okay, not bad. All right, grab a mouthful of water there. So if you wouldn't mind pressing the button again for me. Okay, so we're going to work on this 180 turn now, okay? Done it in testing before? Yeah, so yo-yo testing or bleep testing or shuttle run testing? Yeah, okay. So we're going to try and do it off both legs in some way, shape or form, but we're going to start off fairly easy and we're going to gradually build up from that, okay? We'll try and give you a little bit of break in between. It's not a fitness test just yet. So the first bit we'll do is, I'm going to get you to start this end and run up to here and we're going to turn on this line so I can see how you turn. We're just going to jog up, you're going to turn and take a slightly faster jog out. Simple as that. Good stuff. So what I'm seeing there is as you're coming in, decelerating here, you're putting your foot on a half turn so that you're ready to reaccelerate out. So that's exactly what I'm after. Could you do the same now but turn the opposite way? Good stuff. Which side's more comfortable for you? Okay. We're still going to do both sides because we're going to need both sides in sport in terms of what we're doing. So this time you're going to come in slightly faster on the jog, but slightly faster on the way out as well. Now, the position that you're getting here is actually really good. So you're coming in, you're planting really well, but as you're coming in faster, you're going to have to be more determined with that and more stable with that each time, okay? So we're going to try and build this up over the next 4 or 5 repetitions to make it quick, okay? So a little bit faster coming in, a little bit faster coming out. Good stuff. So a little bit rest there. That was good. Held a really good solid position as you finished there and drive out. Let's make sure the shoulders and the head turn the direction of travel and you can get the knee turned around into that reacceleration position. So before you go, actually you're doing it on the other side this time, aren't you? Yeah. So let's go again on that one. To the other side. Good. You might feel more comfortable on the other side, but actually looks really good on both sides. So that's a bonus. So we're going to up it a bit now. We're going to come in a bit faster. We're going to try and go out a little bit faster as well. We're going to do 1 on each side. Just give you a little bit of a breather before you do that. So you've got to be really determined on this coming in here. This step, as you're coming in here, that's a big deceleration step. this is just going to help us turn to come off it, okay? So try not to spend too much time putting any effort in that way. Stamp the foot down, head back in that direction. Okay, so a bit faster coming in now. Good. Excellent, get away. Good stuff. Okay, let's catch your breath. We'll do the same on the other side. Give you another 30 seconds or so if you want it. No, straight in. Good stuff. All right, now if you're testing, we know the line that you're going to run from, but in reality, you're probably going to need to react off that a little bit. So I think you're really good. I've turned off both sides. You're going to run in this time, and when I put my hand up, you're going to turn and you're going to run back the opposite direction. So you're going to have to look for me up here, and you're going to have to react to that, okay? So it could be quite early, it could be quite late, it could be that you're a bit faster, or if it's earlier on, you're not going to be quite as fast at that point. So just be ready for it and want to see a really quick turnaround, okay? All right, so I'll just put my hand up when I want you to turn, okay? Out you come. Not bad. Could you be a bit sharper than that, though? I think so. So for me there, I think you just need to drop your centre of mass a little bit quicker and really stamp that foot in, because it's a little bit scuffly, but really drop that, stamp the foot in, turn and go, okay? Don't mind which leg you do it off, whichever one's going to work the quickest for you. Okay, let's go. Come on, fast out. Not bad, but what could have been better on that one? What could have been better on that one? Yeah, so there's more steps than probably what was needed to stop and turn, okay? So I could persist with that a little bit, if I just dip out of it for a moment and work a little bit more on that. What I'm going to do is just do something slightly different. So on this one, we're just going to put a little bit different pressure on it. So you're going to come from this cone this time. So it's not going to be quite as fast, but we're going to put some pressure on. So if you want to come up the cone here. So I'm going to time you. So we're going to put some real pressure on this turn. So there's pressure and reactivity on the turn there, but now got a different sort of pressure in terms of the speed of that turn. So it'll be mark, set, go. I'll press the watch, start on go. You've got to get your foot over that line, and you've got to run past here as quick as you can. Okay, we're going to go for 3 attempts and see how quick you can get in those 3. Okay?
Same line?
Up to you. I don't mind when I put this pressure on at this point. Okay? Set, go. I have to put my watch on a different setting. There we go. Okay. That was a practice one. Okay. Set. Go. Okay, 2.55. Reckon you've got it in you to beat that?
Yep.
Sounds quite quick for that distance. So take another 30 seconds or so. Got time. Plenty of time. 2.55 to beat. Now, if you're an athletics coach and used to using a stopwatch, you can get fairly accurate. Fairly. It's not going to be perfect, but it gives you something to work to. Okay, on you. Set. Go. Would you believe 2.55 again? Exactly to the 100th. Okay, here endeth our session. Thank you. Got a good sweat on. Okay, come on back in and have a seat. Yes, feel free. Good effort, Alan. Did you see anything there that you're not capable of delivering? Hopefully not. You can see it would require some level of practice, though, from yourself, just to be comfortable in what you're looking for, how you might structure it, how you might put some of the key coaching points across to the athlete. So in terms of time-wise, we're in good time there, so I'm happy to take any thoughts, questions on anything to do with that as an assessment or some of the stuff I did in that.
Is it not a sort of mandatory requirement to actually give like a full intentful demonstration? I was under the impression you had to give like a full intentful demonstration of the movement.
A full demonstration. I'll give as much demonstration. You need to give as much demonstration to get the message across to the athlete as is necessary. Within the weightlifting, That is a full demonstration, yeah. It's not required to be fully demonstrating everything in there, as long as you understand what it is. Now, it might be some of it where you just demonstrate like a key position. It might be that you go through it and show them what it looks like. There was bits and pieces I did, but I didn't necessarily do every single bit there. But you should be physically capable of doing some of that. So some level of demonstration in there, definitely.
Is there like assessment criteria available online to almost know, like, okay, what
Yes.
are you ticking off?
Good question. So at the moment, no, but they're putting more and more stuff online for it. With most things in life that you're getting assessed on, there's some level of criteria out there, and it shouldn't be a hidden thing. I don't have it handy to quickly whip it up on here, but it's not loads and loads of boxes on this. It's like, are you talking to them technically about what they're doing? Are you getting them in the right positions? Is the right technical model there? And are you doing some level of reasonably interactive coaching with that? And the safety checks as well are quite a big one. The weightlifting has loads of boxes to tick. There's loads of technical points, but this one there's not as many. What else are you thinking? So if you're going to go for this assessment in a month, 2, 3 months' time, from what you've seen today and what you've heard today, what else are you starting to think about and need to ask some questions on?
I think it's the language that you use will be very different to, I suppose, the coaching points that are online that are recommended.
Okay, so it's looking at the difference between what's a technical point and what's a coaching point. So if I start talking about center of mass and bases of support and triple extensions, that's probably not some of the language that you might use with an athlete. So we've got to strike a balance between getting the message across with some of the coaching type language as well as understanding the technical stuff. So when you're in the weightlifting assessment, you're talking through technical points of the lift, but they're very different to coaching cues that you'd use to get an athlete to do those technical points. Does that make sense? So in this, there's a little bit of a crossover of both. One of the things I tried to do within that was talk out loud what was going on in my head, what I was seeing. So rather than just watching something go, oh, that was good, we'll do it again a bit faster, I mentioned a few bits and pieces that I thought was good or some bits and pieces I thought wasn't quite there, so that the assessor can hear what's going on in my head and what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So an amount of commentary is quite useful as you go through that. What else?
What are some of the typical questions that the assessor might ask? Is it just some kind of critique in the session itself, or is it kind of like a set pool of questions that you typically ask?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. So it's definitely a bit of a critique of the session for what they've written down. There'll be some clarification points. You mentioned this, or you didn't quite get them to do that. What are you thinking of then? And then there's a couple of set questions, mainly around ground contact times on the plyometric stuff. Now, clearly that is more of a ballistic. It's a jumping exercise, but it's not plyometric. So you might get the question of, was that a plyometric exercise you delivered? And in this circumstance, I would say no. And you say, why not? And the answer is, yeah, so the ground contacts that Alan was doing there was much longer than 0.2 of a second. So it wouldn't count as being plyometric, although it's still a powerful ballistic exercise that he's doing. And that would be a satisfactory answer. If you're doing a drop jump, that would be slightly different because that should be under 200 milliseconds on that. So that's one of the only standard sort of questions in there. Again, this exercise didn't necessarily lead it to like working the dorsiflexion in the air and looking at some of those positions in order to prepare for ground contacts. That would be a really big coaching point to make sure you're covered off. But looking at the technical models and making sure you understand what they look like and what the technical points of that would be. So for example, tomorrow when I do this again, I'm probably going to do a different scenario, and it's the one with the alternate leg bounds. And most people do alternate leg bounds really poorly. They don't lead with the knee, and they tend to land on the ball of their foot too much. So it's leading with the foot and landing in these positions, rather than leading with the knee and landing on a flatter foot. So it's getting some of those bits right. So on Alan's turn, if he was coming up and turning here, and not doing like a half turn with his foot, that would be some of those little bits to try and pick up on. So there is some finer detail that you do need to be aware of to try and get that technical model right. Time for 1 or 2 more questions? Go for it.
Thanks, sir. I went through the process quite a while ago, so I'm fairly knowing into the new system, hence I'm here to learn. Do you expect people going for the accreditation to display this to the assessor
No.
prior?
No, not at all, no.
And can I ask your opinion about what's going through your head when you were doing that? If you were the assessor watching you,
Mhm.
I'll come back to the brain criteria, that's a third question. When you're watching that, I assume that you delivered that and that is a pass?
Hopefully. If I had one of the other assessors in doing it, they might say different, but if I'm taking like a step outside myself watching that,
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'll put something together and try to deliver it at least a pass, yes.
Okay. Is there anything you would do about those two technical models? I'm assuming that in your mind or on your marking sheets, there's like a minimum, there's a certain criteria for the technical points and certain criteria. I don't know if there's a weighting there or not. Is there a weighting between technical versus coaching?
No.
No. With those technical models, is there anything that you would have addressed differently or?
Not massively in the time frame that I've got.
Yeah.
Clearly we can make Alan move a bit better with some longer term coaching and some intensive therapy, but around the ankles especially. So it's more about your process that you're trying to get through than the level he can achieve or your athlete can achieve. We're not expecting groundbreaking work in 15 or 17 minutes, but can you pick up on what's going on and can we promote some level of progressive session within that? That's why it goes back to that bit of trying to keep it relatively simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to get majorly complicated. I had a question when I did this previously at the football conference, and it was something about the acceleration and are you getting to do this because of the tensions through the fascia and this and that? And like, no mate, it's like we're not working at that level. We're just doing a basic thing and trying to do it well.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Right, final question from anyone? No? Well, hopefully you've seen it's not too difficult, but it does require some planning, some preparation, some practice. And I would suggest if you're going to go for it, don't leave it too long. Like, don't go 18 months' time. Put that pressure on and go 4 months' time. I could do it. There's an assessment in X place, in X date, in, where are we now? December. And put that on to try and get it done. If you leave it too long, you lose some of the momentum to try to get there, and it never comes round. So you look at a date, put it in and go, right, got that, fixed up a mentor, what's your plan to get between here and here in that time frame? I do some mentoring, as I mentioned, online and stuff, if people want to get in touch with some of that sort of stuff. I know other people do some similar things as well. So opportunities are there with people, because most of the time people have been mentored to get to the position they are, so they're quite happy to help out, whether it's small fee or whatever it might be on top of that, to help get you through it. Happy? Okay, right. Thanks for turning up. Good luck, and might see it in assessment.